So, welcome to Hang Out the Cafe. Bunmi, this is an interesting one. I know we had you on, is it a year now?
Yes, it was.
About a year ago, okay. When you shared your story, and it was an amazing story. For me, it was amazing because this is Bunmi that I see every Sunday at my local church, and not knowing that she had been through all of this. So Bunmi is, for those who don't know, she's a domestic violence survivor. Thank God she survived. Not everyone survives.
Yeah.
And no, not everyone. I mean, you work with them. You work with some charities now, a few charities now, I believe. So thank God you survived. But we're having this conversation today because I recently spoke to someone who is in an abusive relationship. And I remember saying to her, I said, why did you not say anything? Because that was my first time of finding out that she was going through. And she said she was embarrassed. I mean, embarrassed as it was. She was embarrassed for herself that, what will people say? People will judge me. My marriage, everybody thinks that I'm in a great marriage. So I said, there's nothing to be ashamed of. This is not your fault. The person is the one abusing you. So why would you be embarrassed? So I was thinking about it, and I thought, it would be good to have this conversation again, because I know Bunmi talked a bit about it, a little bit, but it was more sharing her story the last time she was here. But I thought it would be good to talk about it, because I'm sure that there are people that we know who are still in abusive relationships, and who are afraid to come out. And then, I said to Bunmi this morning, I said, and guess what? Yesterday, the story came out about Diddley and Cassie. I was like, okay, this is
so timely. I saw that and I said, oh dear, why tonight?
It's timely.
I just wanted us to make reference to it. But yeah, that was timely though.
Yeah.
And it was, I think something that stood out for me there was the fact that they had reports. Because check, if you watched the video, they were comparing the complaints she had made in the past to the video, to the footage. And I said, this is one thing I try to tell people: you need to document these things. Mm-hmm. Even if you're not going to press charges, just document it.
Okay.
Because you never can tell when that statement will be in your favor. Mm. So it was just a good thing that it was documented. Because I kept reading the statement. They made reference to the statements that were made in the past.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, this is amazing. It's a good thing that these reports were made or they were filed at the time they were filed.
Yeah. But apparently he paid her off, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's another thing. But well, okay. So we do have a lot to cover today. But I'm going to start off by asking you, Bunmi, you survived, but you also stayed in it for a bit before you got out of it. So why did you stay? Let me ask you, why did you stay? Your reason might be different from what some other people, the reason why some other people are in it now, but why did you stay in that relationship? How long were you in the relationship for? Your marriage for?
3 years.
Sorry?
3 years.
Yes. Okay.
I was there for 3 years. I had an opportunity to leave in a few months after I put to bed in 2012. My mom was around at the time, and she had actually left the house. So I had an opportunity to leave, but I just said no. I said no, that I was going to stay back, because aside from the fact that people had come to me to speak to me and give me reasons why I should go back, reasons where, he had pleaded, he had changed. At some point, we're going to talk about the cycle of abuse. So he had changed, and I believed he was going to turn a new leaf.
Okay.
So I went back. I went back, and the cycle continued. In fact, it did not even take a week for me to relieve the cycle again. And even after I left that relationship, I've been in a few other relationships where I've been through the same cycle of abuse.
Wow.
Until I made a decision that, Now you're going to take charge of your life.
That's an interesting. I'm going to come back to that, because I just saw some a statement or a comment that someone posted on the comment chat that it's shame that keep one of the reasons.
That's one. Yeah.
Shame. But I mean, because I know you, so I know what you're going through. But I would really love when you're comfortable about this, Bola, to come on Hangout Cafe to share your story. But we'll talk about that offline. But yes, shame is a reason why people stay in the relationship. What I said I was going to come back to is this thing. So you got out of your marriage, but you still had other relationships where it was almost like the same thing. Why? Did you not recognize the same thing when it happened after you married, the first relationship you went into? Did you not recognize the thing?
The thing is, you do not recognize the signs at the beginning of the relationship. It's after the relationship has started. So it's usually in the middle. You don't realize it at the beginning. So
Right.
yeah, we see the red flags. Some people are very good at masking the red flags. Some people are good at coming to you with what they think you need at that point in time. So they are solving your needs and you're carried away. And you're thinking, oh, such a lovely person, you know. And then when your needs are sorted, that's when their true personality begins to get revealed. So it's usually not at the beginning. Always, it's in between. Someone said to me yesterday, she said, well, I can't keep making that mistake. So you can't tell me. I've made up my mind. I would never find myself in such a situation. I said, sorry, do you know at the beginning? So I started listening to a few people I knew she's hung out with. And I said, wait. When you dated this person, did you know at the beginning that this person was the way he was? She said, no. I said, did you know about this at the beginning? I said, please go and check what you're saying, because you really don't get to know until you've been in the relationship with them. That's when they begin to reveal who they truly are.
But are there no red flags? So even with your ex-husband, were there no red flags?
There were red flags. I ignored them.
Okay. So isn't that probably the same for a lot of people, that they're red flags, but we choose to ignore the red flags?
Yeah. And I'm going to be talking about that at some point. Yes, we ignore them. Many a times it's because we ignore them, aside from the obvious reasons that everyone talks about, low self-esteem, not having your values, aside from all of those. The truth is we ignore them because many of them, like I said at the beginning, are coming to meet our needs, our pressing needs at the time. Right. So you're just focused on getting that need met. Yeah. You're not thinking about anything at that point in time. It's after honeymoon is over, that's when the real game begins. And then you start to see them for who they truly are. So
okay. Makes sense now. Do you know one of my big sis yesterday, she saw the flyer, and then she sent me a list of reasons why women stay in abusive relationships. Let me read some of this out to you. She said, number one, shame. She said, fear of the unknown. Then she said, enjoy the man sexually. And then 4, financial stability. So I responded and I said, sis, I don't understand about enjoying the man sexually. That if somebody is beating you, will sex keep you in a relationship?
Yes, it will, because of age. So we women we tend to have this belief that as we age.
Oh, sorry, Bunmi. Somebody said our voices are distorted. Is everybody finding out this? Is that the same for everyone, or is it just sis? Let us know, please. Because she said our voices are distorted.
Okay.
Okay. Anyone? Our voices okay? Oh, they said yes. So both voices. Is it both?
Clear?
Oh, somebody saying no. Voices are good here. Okay, so it might be where you are at, because I can voice.
Okay, another person can hear fine.
Okay, let's just go on. Let's go on. Okay, go on.
All right. So, ladies believe some people, this is another misconception, that as you age, you have that, oh, women especially. Okay, can you hear me?
But other
Do I
people are
need
saying the voices are clear. So it depends on where it's okay. Go on.
All right. So, so they are thinking, you know what? I need to keep it going for myself sexually, just so I'm not messing about. Many people don't even want to use the toys. I've never tried them, but I just believe they can never be as effective as the real deal. So, and I believe there are so many people like that. So they just believe, you know what, if we get this thing on,
Yeah.
we can stay active, we'll be able to help ourselves, save ourselves from having to sleep with many people, having multiple partners. Let's just try to keep it to one person. You know, and for shame, ladies just feel, you know, I'd rather just stay with one person. Let me be known with one person. So they would rather take whatever comes with that. I spoke to a lady recently. Sadly, she's been abused even before she had her first child. And now she's got 3. That's a case I'm working with right now.
Okay.
And she has 3 children. Recently, she took the kids back to Nigeria just because she was she was struggling. They were having cases at school. There was issues with social services. She took the kids back. I was against it. I didn't want the kids to go back because I felt the kids were like a covering for her.
Okay.
The only thing the husband had not done in 10 years was to beat her because her kids were there. But he abused her psychologically in all ways. He has abused her. So she eventually still did. She took the kids back. I had to get someone to help me convince her not to take the kids back, but she did.
Okay.
So we were speaking about 2 weeks ago, and I said to her, I said, why can't you just leave? Because you have every reason to leave. This guy has actually said to you, leave. Like, I'm done with you. The guy even called her father to say, I don't know why she's still here with me. He seems she doesn't even have shame.
Oh, wow.
And she said to me, if I go, what would I be doing? I'll be hanging out with other men. How would that? And she's a medical doctor. She said, how would I be able to help myself sexually? Would I start sleeping around? I said, wow. I said, so right now, with everything that's going on now, with the way, Pastor Bonke, there are levels of abuse. I would state one that it still shocks me about this couple. So if this man goes out to get milk, it is crazy. If he goes out to get milk, he's going to draft an order. He's going to draft an order, like a court order, stating, I, Bunmi Idumu, bought milk at £2, and you would have to refund the £2 by 20th days, 5 p.m. Failure to do so will result in, this is a husband to the wife, and the husband is a lecturer. The wife is a medical doctor. Failure to do so will result in this. Signed, he would sign and put the wife's name and send it to the wife to sign. Now he does this for everything.
So he buys things for the house, as in milk, but she has to refund the money.
She has to refund because she's earning more than he is earning.
Oh my goodness.
And he puts it in an order. So he would then send it to her, and there's a text message to follow that.
Okay, so I guess we can say that because she's earning more, so her staying in that marriage is not financial. It must be other things.
So that's what I'm trying to say. So she has now said, so I said to her, I said, then what are you still waiting for? She said, I cannot be messing about with other people. And I'm thinking, wow. Okay, there are cases.
Wow. Okay. No. I guess that you hear about these things, but sometimes you wonder if are these people for real?
Yeah.
I guess they are.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's look at. I guess we've covered some of the misconceptions about, or are there more common misconceptions people have about women who stay in abusive relationships?
Yeah, there are many, and I actually grouped them into 3. Okay. I grouped them into 3 because I thought people would need to hear this just so they know these are not real. Okay. So I grouped it into misconceptions about the perpetrator.
Okay. Oh, I think you're frozen.
Can you still see me? Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Misconceptions about what domestic abuse is, misconceptions about the individuals who have experienced the abuse, and misconceptions about the perpetrator of the abuse. This is because people actually believe these and they are not true.
Okay.
So I'll start with what domestic abuse is. Misconceptions about what domestic abuse is includes that domestic abuse must always involve physical violence. There are so many people who believe until it hits you, there's no reason to leave. Until it hits you, there's no reason to call for help. And that's so wrong. Couples argue all the time. I hear this a lot. They're like, oh, what's the big deal? I hear this from all your aunties and uncles. And they tell you, hey, it's couples argue. They argue now. I still argued with my wife. I didn't tell me that is domestic abuse, my dear, please. And then you hear...
But say that, Bunmi, just because a couple, they argue, doesn't mean that it's abusive. Yeah. It depends. I guess it depends on the language that is used.
It depends on the language and it depends on how you come across. Okay. So the way United Nations defines domestic abuse is when you willfully or when you unjustly deprive people of the liberty they deserve.
Oh,
that is
I love that. I love that.
When you unjustly deprive people of their liberties to do things. And this cuts across children, it cuts across your spouses, it cuts across. So if I'm willfully or unjustly depriving you of your liberty to do things, it's okay when you say, I was trying to think of the definition a while ago, and I was thinking, okay, I'm telling my child to go to bed at 8, and the child is refusing to go to bed. And I'm saying to the child, oh, tomorrow I'm going to take this off you. Am I being unjust? Am I doing it illogically? No. There's a reason for it. It's so the child would have this number of hours of sleep before the next day. Okay. So when you unjustly or illogically deprive people of their liberties, liberty they are entitled to, that is domestic abuse.
Okay. Someone just asked a question that is there statistics? I'll tell you, this is alarming. The crime survey for England and Wales, this is in the UK because we're in the UK, estimated that 2.1 million people aged 16 and over, that's 1.4 million women and 751,000 men experienced domestic violence in the year ending March 2023. That is a lot. That is a lot of people.
It's interesting because you see, one does that work. The scary statistic is 1 in 3 women experience this, and 1 in 5 men experience it. Some days ago, I stumbled on an article that said, by United Nations, it said every hour, 3 women are killed for domestic abuse.
Wow.
That was shocking. I had to go check the source when I saw it. I just stumbled on it because I follow so many artists, so many writers on domestic abuse. And I said it was United Nations. And I said, these guys can't be wrong. And this survey was done, it was published done in September last year. So that's correct. So 3 women, where my mind ran to was, gosh, so in 24 hours. And they said on average. So if on average 3, that means sometimes we have 5.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have 6 in an hour. So what happens in 24 hours? What happens in a week? That was scary. Some days ago, I told someone yesterday, I said some days ago, I think on Tuesday, I was preparing my notes for class. And I slept off. I just realized I rarely sleep during the day, but I just dozed off in the living room. And I woke up teary. And I was wondering why I was tearing up. And there was this heaviness. And I was wondering why. And all I heard was pray and cancel suicidal attempts. And I said, I thought it was for me.
Okay.
I started thinking, I said, well, I'm not thinking of committing suicide. There's no reason to think of committing suicide. Like, I was just dancing. I was just speaking to someone. There's no reason to want to commit suicide. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to still pray about it in case it's something that might happen in the future, because I've been there before. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to pray about it. And I just said a few words that, and this was exactly what I said. I said, whoever is contemplating suicide at this point in time, and if this is something that would happen in future, oh Lord, please raise intervention. Let someone just turn up and stop it. Let someone call in and make it stop. Just intervene any way to just stop it. Guess what? I said, let me go. Let me just freshen up. Let me just make the atmosphere lighter. I went on to Instagram because I love to read the comments on Instagram. I told someone, I said, if you want to avoid depression, just go on Instagram,
Yes.
link by KG, Tunde Egnon, just go and read the comments. Don't just read the comments. Nigerians will give you a reason to get out of depression. So you guys didn't know why I was feeling the way I felt. I logged on, and the first thing I saw was something by Pastor Nathaniel Bassey.
Yeah.
And he posted canceling suicide.
Wow.
And I checked when he posted, it was 23 minutes ago. And I said, wow. I said, okay, so for me, this was not personal. This was a message for someone. This was something was happening to somebody.
Yeah.
2 days after was when I stumbled on that statistics that 3 women in an hour are killed for domestic abuse. And I'm thinking, what? So what happens in 24 hours? What happens in a week? What happens in a year? I think the message is not out enough. We've not said so much. We've not helped enough people.
This is, oh gosh. I guess there's only so much we can do, Bunmi, because you and the charity that you work with, you're trying to do your best. But is it that we are not, so for example, like everyone is on this forum, on this platform now, are we getting the message across? You know, instead of talking about, oh, this person, are we getting the message? Are we trying to help people identify? So okay, actually, let me say this. I remember once a friend of mine, I didn't know. And I mean, we've been friends for years. I did not know she was in an abusive relationship until I think it got to a point where I remember she said that the only reason why she came out to tell us was because I think her child mentioned something at school. And then social services got involved and were going to take the child or the children away from them. That was when she opened up. And for the life of me, I thought, I know this can't be true. This can't be true. Because they were like the perfect couple.
Yeah.
But I guess we hide a lot of things.
We do.
And we don't. So
You'll be shocked at how many pastors turn up at church, but they actually don't sleep in the same bedroom. You'll be shocked.
Yeah.
I hear stories. Yeah. I see things. And I just marvel. I hear things. Sometimes people are confiding in you and you're thinking, seriously? And a few minutes after, you see them acting as the best couples.
Oh,
I am thinking,
you know, I don't know if I've told this on this platform before. There was a couple who had, they were going through the challenges and all of that. And I know because one of the ladies' friends actually called my husband and I to say, please, can you guys help this couple? Because that day they were quarreling and fighting and all of that. And she jumped out of the window in her house to get away from him. Anyway, we called them and, well, settled the matter then. And because we had a program in church that day, so we went to church in the evening. Now, anyone who knows my local church, you can see if you're in the church office, you can see the car park when people are driving in and all of that. Now, when they drove in, you could tell that they were arguing. And then the next thing that happened, Bunmi, they walked into church, they were holding hands, like the perfect, I almost passed out. Because like, what? What's going on here? What's going on here? But again, nobody should know that, this thing, that's, I guess, where it's shame, it's a lot of things, but we have to do better. We really need to do better. And this is for people that are in the relationship, or people that we know. We need to help them, because sometimes people can't help themselves. So if we know, we have to help. We have to help. But I mean, let's move on. Let's move on. What about, yeah, go on. You were saying, go on.
Yes. So another misconception about what abuse is that it is usually performed by strangers. People just believe, oh, your husband can't abuse you. Oh, your mom can't abuse you. It's usually performed by strangers. Another one is that domestic abuse only happens with the less privileged families or the poorer families.
It's worse. It's actually worse.
Some people are like, oh, no, these guys can't be good. You know, when 𝐻𝐸𝐤𝐥𝐿 story came out, people were like, no, 𝐻𝐸𝐤𝐥𝐿 of all people. I'm like, you'll be shocked. You will be shocked at what happens.
Yeah.
So misconceptions about the individuals who have experienced the abuse. Many people, I hear this often. Oh, if it's that bad, she would leave. If it's that bad, they would leave. It's not that bad. That's why they are still there. Some people say, oh, it's the fault of the lady. Oh, if only she did this. If only she turned up at that, the husband would have not reacted that way. If only the wife appreciated the husband would have not been violent. Yeah. Another set of people would say, oh, it's only women that get abused. The truth is, men also are abused.
I mean, look at the statistics. Men do. Yeah. I guess it must be more difficult for men, because how do you say that your wife beats you or your wife is abused? It must be really tough for them.
Pastor Funke, you'll be shocked at what men go through.
Wow.
Sometimes when I put up some posts, you see the guys coming for me and saying, is it only you guys that are going through this thing? And many of them now use the opportunity to share their stories. I spend more time with the guys than I spend with ladies for obvious reasons. With the ladies, there's too much drama. With the guys, peace. So, and I grew up amongst men, so it's easier for me. So guys kind of tend to share their stories. When I hear some things, I am dazed. Some women are actually men in their homes, and you'll be shocked. Men actually go through these problems. I just can't share some examples on this life, but men go through a lot. Another misconception, and I hear this too often, is that some individuals are attracted to abusive people. Some people just say you have a taste in abusive people. You have a bad taste for terrible men. The truth is, many times you don't know. Yes, we see the red flags. We ignore the red flags many times, just because it depends on how we were met. It depends on how the relationship started. So many times people are not deliberately ignoring, but circumstances just makes you not see it because you're focused on something else at that point in time. The last
and I guess one, sometimes the men can pretend.
Yeah, many times they are good, but you can see through them. That's why we have messages by Apostle Selman on the seeing eyes for discerning. You can see. Sometimes you can, because they sleep off. The truth is, these guys actually sleep off. You can see them sometimes. But I would use myself as an example. I'll be honest. Many a times I ignore them because I just say to myself, hey, Bunmi, it's not like you two, you don't have faults now. So why would you be judging someone? Maybe this is the only bad thing. Until they do the second one. And I'm like, hey, Bunmi, you cannot be judging. Until I see the fifth, the sixth one, and I'm telling myself, that's when I now remember my values. And I'm like, Bunmi, no, you cannot do this one. Now it is too much. But there are still many people, they get carried away. And they just forget. It's honest. Many people just, many people just forget. They forget themselves in the relationship. All right, misconceptions about the perpetrators of the abuse. Many people believe that alcohol, drug use, gambling is the reason why the person is violent. Another one that really gets to me is, oh, the perpetrator must have a faulty foundation. Oh, his father may have been abusive. Oh, he must have come from an abusive home. You'll be shocked that a child or a guy who grew up in a reasonable family setting, who had the right foundation, would be abusive for various reasons. One, because life is spiritual, because some people just wanted to take advantage of the guy, or the sins of his forefathers have been visited on the guy. for so many reasons, and it has missed a few generations and now came to the guy. So for so many reasons, people are abusive. And the last one on that is that being abusive doesn't make one a bad parent.
Being
All right.
being abusive.
Abusive
Okay.
does not make one a bad parent. I'll help you understand that. With this, people do not realize that about 90% of children with parents in an abusive relationship, they witness the abuse and the effects are traumatic, which leads to distress, it leads to mental illness in the long run, and it becomes child abuse when the children actually experience this abuse.
Okay, let's go back to what you said about being an abusive parent does not
Being
make you a
abusive,
bad
yeah, being abusive doesn't make one a bad parent. So this is what people say. I'll try to rephrase that.
Okay.
So
Sorry to interrupt. What you're saying is that if a man or woman they're abusive to their spouses, they can still be good parents.
Yeah.
But the question is, what example are you showing to your child if you're abusing their father or mother?
Great. Now, that statement is addressing the people who say, hey, the fact that he's abusive, hey, he can still be a good dad, hey, he's abusing me, hey, doesn't mean my kids are not affected.
Right. Okay.
So,
okay.
Remember, we are looking at the misconceptions.
Okay,
and it's
sorry.
The victims, it's the victims that make this statement. They are like, oh, don't worry, the fact it is me, it's Kukumi. And that's the reason many people stay in the relationships.
Right.
They are thinking it's me is abusing. He's not abusing the kids. Not realizing that the fact that the children are there, you and I said something yesterday that these kids actually know. Yeah. These kids, even from the womb, they know. These kids understand what's going on. They don't say anything until they feel, okay, it's safe for me to speak. And then they let it out. A lady said to me in class recently, a white lady, and she said, we're just gisting. And she said, oh, I'm never going to leave my partner because of childcare.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but I guess that's a valid reason for her. Yeah.
Well, it's a valid reason, but Pastor Funke, in the long run, it will affect our kids. It will affect our children in the long run. I understand. And so I asked her, I said, how many kids have you got? She said 3. I had to play the devil's advocate to understand where she was coming from. 3 children in England, how will you sort the childcare? Who wants to take the 3 children at once? So if this guy is helping with childcare, you may as well just stay. I get that. You may as well just stay. What can I do in such a situation?
I guess it's like somebody put, it's very complex. Except you've been and you're in someone's shoes, I guess it's really difficult because I mean my head is like, why would you want to do this? But because I'm not, it is difficult for me to understand why someone will be in those shoes and decide to stay. But thank God we have someone like you who's been there, done that, so you can tell us. You can help us.
Just so I don't forget, in case we talk about other things and I miss this point out, just so I do not forget, I wrote something. I said the most obvious sign to leave, because many people don't even know when to leave.
Okay.
But the most obvious sign to leave is when there is no room for growth. When you're unable to grow education, when you're unable to improve yourself on all levels, that's a sign that you need to leave.
That's a good one.
So once people say, hey, but he has not. See, the minute your growth is stunted, the minute your growth comes to a halt, you need to just check out. And you find ways. I was going to talk on 4 steps, on 4 reasons why people do not leave. And I titled it as LIFE. LIFE. And that's an acronym.
Okay.
L being limitations. People are limited by various reasons. And for each of them, I've outlined steps. What needs to be done for you to for you to just get liberated from the situation. I being ignorance.
Okay.
F being fear. And fear covers shame, it covers self-esteem, it covers all of that. And E, the last one, being errors.
What's
because of
errors?
Error.
What does that mean?
The errors, a few errors that we make. Errors such as one, not getting counseling before we got into the relationship, we ignoring the signs and the rest of it. So the first thing I put under limitations was lack of support system. Many people are limited because they do not have a good support system. They do not have a healthy support system. I said to someone recently, I said, what you want to do, because now you're in a strange land, you're unsure of how to find help, you're unsure of what to do.
Yeah.
What to do is start by making friends with your neighbors. Start by getting close to people in school. She said, how am I going to do that? You know, I'm very quiet. I said, it's simple. All you need to do is, oh, hi, hello. She was like, Bunmi, how would I do that? I said, it's very easy. Oh, your hair looks nice. I said, whether the hair looks nice or not, look for something that looks nice on that person and start from there. I said, you might say the same thing for 3-4 weeks. Just make sure you register your presence in the heart of someone. Even if it's your neighbor, you don't need to cut their grass for them. Just extend it while you're doing yours. What you need is you need that network. You need to start building your own support system. Many people just look and say, oh, this abuse is becoming unbearable. I'm leaving. And they just pack their things and leave. I'm like, seriously? Like a friend of mine did one time. She just got up and left. And they caught her and worsened things for her. The rules became worse for her. And she was stuck there for another 10 years. She only just recently got out. And when I said, but how come it took you this long? We've been on this for over 12 years. And she said, Bunmi, aside from the fact that I love this guy, it was hard though. Do you know that first time I tried to run, if you see the rules, the guy gave me afterwards, I was like, hey, but you didn't say. She said, if I say, you will come up with another one. And it doesn't seem like I understand the things you are saying. And they'll catch me again. No, I'm not so. So I just decided to stay and not talk about it. Now, but another thing.
Sorry, even this one you said about making friends, having a support system. But I know that there are men or women who make it difficult for you to have other relationships apart from them. So they keep you isolated, even from your family.
Yeah, they do. That's, they do. They actually isolate some people. Now, when they do, okay, these guys step out of the house. They are not in the house 24/7. They are not in the house.
I mean, look, using your own example.
Using my own example, I'll tell you what I did. See, my case was terrible. Mine, he monitored my phone, my phone calls, my call logs. He would call EE and ask for the call log at the end of the month. And he would ask me, so who did you call for 2 minutes? What were you saying to them for that long? Then the good thing was we didn't have a camera in the house. But please, I got the opportunity to go to the bin. I got the opportunity of going to the shops. And that was how I got people to talk to. So I would go to the shops. See, under that guy's nose, I was selling shoes and bags. I sent them to Nigeria. I ordered the shoe. When he's out, he goes to work. When he goes to work, that's when I leave the house. And he will call me. I don't answer that call. If that call comes when I know wait. And I make sure I'm keeping tabs on him. And luckily for me, again, he will tell me to bring food to him at work. This is something he just started after he married me. He wasn't doing all of that before. He was buying whatever he saw at work. But he would tell me to, that was my opportunity to touch 1 or 2 places.
Okay.
These people are not with you 24/7. You want to try. Just smile at one neighbor. Wink at one neighbor. They are never with you 24/7. There's a time you would need to go to the hospitals. Oh, I wrote a step on part of the solutions. I'll quickly run through limitations. Isolation is one of them. Health reasons is another thing that limits people due to mental health issues, disabilities. Those are part of the limitations, as well as, oh God, the pressures we place on ourselves. Many of us, we give ourselves unrealistic, unnecessary pressures. That, oh, I must be married by age 30. I must prove to people that I am different, that marriages actually work. So because of that, you take all the gospels and you're not reporting it, you're not talking to anybody about it because, no, I need to prove to Jumoke that I am better off. I need to prove to Funke that I am. You understand? So I wrote some solutions here, and I tried to capture most of these links because I think everyone might need these links, and they are in my bio.
Okay.
So I said one of the solutions to help mitigate the issue of limitations is to call a domestic abuse helpline. If you go through the links in my bio, you will find those links there. There is an app called Bright Sky app. Bright Sky app.
Okay.
It's also in my bio. That app helps you to report an abuse. It helps you to, it also has the avenue for you to report if you're concerned for someone else.
But I guess that app will only help if it doesn't monitor your phone, because you'll see the app on your phone.
Okay, the way the app is designed, that's the interesting thing. The way it's designed, it would never know. And for you to even get into the app, for you to even get into it, you would think it's a game when you see it.
Okay.
You would think,
what's it called?
Bright Sky. A Bright Sky app.
Okay.
You would never know that it's you would think it's a game. Then there's this other one, it's called Victim Support. Now you can Google up victim support. And I mentioned something to you yesterday, the Annie code word. There is a code called Annie. The link is in my bio as well, ANI code word. Now, there are a few centers. What Annie means is action needed immediately. You could walk into, the link is there. So what this link does for you is it helps you to search your postcode. Now I'm speaking to those in England. It helps you to search if there are centers around your postcode. For every postcode, there's usually 1 or 2 centers. And it's usually places like Boots, job centers, different places. Now, if for any reason this guy is with you, at any point in time, you can walk into those, you can walk into Boots or any of these centers and just say, oh, can I speak with Annie? Oh,
okay.
Can I see Annie? Oh, can I see ANI? They understand what ANI means.
Okay.
It is action needed immediately.
Right, okay.
So that's something that people can use. And before then, you want to familiarize yourself with where these centers are. And please, clear your browsing history. Please clear your browsing history. You want to speak to your doctors or health professionals. You want to start building relationships with neighbors, with people in school. And there is this limitation, oh my God, language barrier.
Mm-hmm.
That is a major problem. And I found this when I speak with Asian descent. I found out many of them, they find it difficult expressing themselves.
Right.
So what I say to them is, just say it the way you want to say it. I turn on translator and I'm clicking and listening and just seeing what it is in English. Okay. Many of them don't know. They struggle with expressing themselves. And many a times, when they tell me where they are from, I have friends from all walks. I know so many people. All I need to do is check my call log and just call somebody from one part of the country that I know understands that language. I put it in a few apps, so I put it on my status and somebody responds and I'm able to connect them and they're able to talk and I'm able to get an understanding of what the issue is. Okay. All right. I said something to you yesterday, Pastor Funke, and I said I would make sure I say this. If you can escape, ensure you do it wisely. If you think I've had enough and I need to run, make sure you're wise about it. And ask yourself 3 major questions before you leave. Otherwise, you'll find yourself coming back. Okay. So many people return to their abusers, and that is the one that gets to me. The first question is, where am I going from here? Is it safe?
Okay.
Where am I going from here? Okay, if I leave today, am I going to my dad's? Is my dad's actually safe for me? I'm going to my friend's. Is my friend's place actually safe for me? Number 2, how long can I stay? Or how long will I be there for? You must have had conversations with these people to say, oh, you know what, come for 2 weeks. That automatically lets you know that after 2 weeks, you need to have another plan for what would happen. Make sure you're not coming back to this place. Make sure you know what you want for yourself. And number 3, what will I do to survive financially? People just get up and leave without thinking of how to survive. There's only so much anyone can do. Even me, who is an advocate, you come and stay in my house. it will get to a point that I'll be like, Auntie, it's time to go and look for something now, you know. At least you to help. Help matters, you know. Number 2 point is ignorance.
Sorry, can I just say something about where to go? Because this friend of mine who was in an abusive relationship, they actually stayed with us for 3 months. Now, the reason why it worked was because the husband just did, I don't know, maybe he didn't even think that. It was almost like the most obvious place. You know, the way it's like, no, it can't be. They won't go and stay because I'm sure or rather, she won't go and stay with them because he knows that, she knows that I can come there at any time. Do you understand what I'm saying? So our place was the most obvious place, but he didn't think that they were at our place. And what she did was, her car wasn't parked in the front of the house. Her car was parked somewhere else. So even if he was driving past, he wouldn't have known that she was staying with us. And thank God for the 3 months that she was with us, he never came to visit or anything at all. So it was the most obvious place. And he thought, no, I mean, I'm sure she won't go there because she knows that I might just stop by at any time. But yeah.
That's where she was.
That's where she was with her kids.
Bless. Oh dear. So anyway, that's it for limitations. The second one.
Okay. No, we have about 15 minutes more to go.
Oh, bless us. The second one, which everyone knows about, is ignorance. Many of us just, sometimes we don't know. And sometimes we choose not to know. That's a very obvious one for us. How do you mitigate that? Ask questions, speak to people, get knowledge, read posts, watch movies. So many of the movies on Netflix, they are classified, and you want to watch these videos. You want to be selective and be deliberate about the videos you watch, not because you want to enhance or increase or improve your own level of violence, but you are helping yourself discover new things. You are enlightening yourself on the antics of these people. I said, there was a point I said, ask Google. The third one, which everyone talks about, is fear. Fear is a major reason why people don't go. People are scared of worsening the situations. People are scared of how will I survive. People are scared of my friend is going to make jest of me. And the church has not, most of the religious settings and our society has not really helped with that. So,
you know, Bunmi, sorry, I keep interrupting you, but because I've been I've been reading the comments, and I keep saying the church is not. So, what exactly would people want from the church? So is it to talk more about it, preach more about it from the pulpit? I really would love to know what people would want the church to, or is it that the church, some churches, some leaders or pastors, is it that they, when it's reported to them, they don't do anything about it, or they say things like, "You too, what are you doing?" So please, I'd love to know. Just put it in the comment box. Yeah.
All right. So I'll wait to see what people are saying, and then I will say what I think the church should do, because I've been a victim of church actually stabbing me right in my face on this. So I'll wait to see what other people have written. Okay, so there's also the fear of upsetting the abuser. There's the fear of how will my kids survive? How will my kids cope without their dads? Without their dad. See, the simple way, especially with children, most of the cases I hear, the only reason they stay long in it is my kids, the development of my kids. See, the way out, I would say it's simple. I've been there. The way out is quite simple. So pardon me for using the word simple. It is quite simple, actually. One, you want to take that bold step of leaving, because this thing has a short and long-term effect on your kids if you do not leave. Mentally, physically, it has a grave impact on the kids. And when you leave, don't worry. Speak to professionals. Go and speak to lawyers. If you are in England, speak to Citizens Advice Bureau. They would link you up with services that would advise you on how to go about the custody battle when it comes up. And you need to inform the school, because the school will help the kids emotionally. Because one thing that's very vital is you want your kids to be able to have reasonable relationships. You want your kids to learn how to maintain healthy relationships as they go on in life. You want to help your kids learn how to value people outside your abuse with their dad or with their mom. All of these things I think schools can help you with without getting your kids onto any register. The earlier you involve the school, the better for you. And in handling fear, I said this, very importantly, when people go through these situations, the very important thing they need to do is to rediscover themselves. Until I rediscovered myself, I could not stop the cycle of abuse. You need to rediscover yourself. You need to tell yourself, when it remains you and yourself, by yourself, ask yourself, who am I actually? What do I stand for? What are my values? What are my non-negotiables? Because the truth is, if you can't define you to you and tell yourself who you truly are, there would be a problem. You will keep attracting the wrong people. And when you now find out what's going on, you would have gone in too far. So you want to find out who you are and you want to guard those values. What are the things? You want to guard them. And very importantly, many people make these mistakes. When they go through these issues, they tend to focus on the pain and not the lessons. I said to someone yesterday, a few weeks ago, I said, your experiences are either blessings or lessons, or both. So what I do, regardless of how painful the situation is, regardless of what the situation is, I try to pick out the blessings, I try to pick out the lessons. And the lessons could be as simple as, oh, I learned not to do things the way he did it. Oh, they have saved me another lifetime of doing things the wrong way because I've seen the effect on me. It just tells me how it would impact someone else. So as a result, oh, you know, I'm just going to take this and learn from this. So, and the last one is the errors. I already talked about errors. That errors, we don't focus on the red flags. We don't identify them. We ignore the red flags. We don't get counseling. We don't have accountability partners. We don't have mentors. Those are errors many people make. And the minute I knew what I wanted, I had to put these things in place. There was a relationship I had recently. And when the guy knew I had an accountability partner, apparently he called while I was with the lady. And he kept calling, and the lady said to me, she said, you know what, you just have to take this call right now. And I took the call, and that was how one of them got. And when he was narrating it to another friend, he told the friend, he said, I've told me to tell her as things are, because, hey, I can see she has accountability partners. You want to have accountability partners for different things. You need them. So I guess I hope I've been able to cover it.
You know, we said yesterday that we might have a part two because there's still a lot that we haven't covered from all the. But let's go back to this. Lots of people commenting about this, what pastors should not do, or should be doing rather. And I think, you know what, I'm going to actually get a pastor to come on, someone who is actually pastoring a church. To come and let's talk about this, because it seems like some churches have failed women and maybe even men, because I can see some of the comments and say, instead of just quoting scriptures or just say pray for him, they should be doing more. Sometimes pastors tell women to push only, that's the last help. And it will be good. I think I'm definitely going to get a pastor to come on Hangout Cafe.
I stepped into a church just after I left my marriage at the time. This was about 10 years ago. And today, everyone knows today is your first time. You know, the way they welcome.
Sorry, I'm not I'm not saying all pastors. Of course, I'm not saying all pastors. My pastor is not like that. In fact, I know my pastor would just. So I know I'm not saying all pastors, but a lot of pastors. From what a lot of people are saying, it looks like some pastors have failed them. So I'm not saying a lot of pastors. Go on.
Yes, so I got into this church and they welcomed new members, as many churches do. And I'm sorry, it's a redeemed church, shockingly. And when the lady, one of the people who welcome new members, she walked up to me and said, "Oh, so are you here with your husband?" And I wasn't wearing my wedding ring. At that time, I'd even lost it. So I don't know what made you think. I guess because I had a little baby with me at the time. Yeah. So she said, "Are you here with your husband, your kids?" I said, "Yeah, I've got just one child." She said, "Did you come with your husband?" I said, "No, that I'm divorced." She said, "Oh, hold on." And then she went to quickly tell the pastor. Pastor Funke, I was shocked. This pastor stomped to me. This pastor just ran to me. "Let me just tell you, you must go back to your husband. Otherwise, you will go to hellfire. It is hellfire for you." I was like, in England? I thought, no. I said, no. For some weeks, I didn't come back to that church. It took people coming back to the house to come speak to me. And I just thought, I have no church. Let me just go to this church. Until I just was not settled there. After 2 years, I was able to get myself a car. I took myself straight to Jesus' house. I said, I don't even want problems. And then I walked into Jesus' house. It's good news, I would say it. I saw Pastor Ago and Pastor Batch at the back. And my son was little there, was crawling, was just crawling around, and they picked him, and they were playing with him. And I said, "Oh, this is a better place to be." And I told myself, I said, "I'm coming back here." And that was how I stopped going to that church. And that's how I've been in Jesus' house till now. Just that singular act. Yeah. They were welcome. Yeah. These are the kind of things that churches can do. In churches, people are stigmatized. Yeah. That church, I struggled for a long time. Yeah. At some point, that Pastor Funke, I'm sure you Jesus House members here can tell that when I'm not on duty, I wear heels to church a lot. So then I used to wear heels to this church, and someone said to me one day, "What is it gone? Which one are you wearing heels to church? You will come to church and you will outdress everybody." And I was thinking, I've not even started fashion yet. I'm still trying to even get my skills together. And it is a problem that I'm wearing heels. Pastor Funke, me too, I need to go and drop the heels. I started wearing flats to church. I had to tone down on my dressing. And I was like, ha. So these are the sort of things that happens in churches. Many people are not welcoming. People just, there's this tongue lash. People are lashing you left, right, center. "Oh, she's single." So churches have not helped. In fact, and the pastors have not helped.
Somebody has actually said something now, because even though we say churches, and the churches are individuals, and sometimes it's not even the pastor. It might also be the people in church. Yep. I know people who don't want to come out of abusive relationships because of the way society treats them. Yep. You're no longer a missus. In fact, somebody was telling me recently, she's single, and she was telling me of how her close friends who are now married were saying, "What would you know about?" Because she was just trying to give them advice about the children. You don't have a child. You're not married. What would you know about this? What would you know about that? And I thought, that's really bad. Yep. So it might not even be the pastor in the church. It could be the people who have this thing. "Oh, she's divorced, she's separated," and not even wanting to know your story. And then people judge you.
That's even good. Some added me to a group. I had to take myself out of that group when I started understanding what was going on. And when I was trying to get myself back, they added me to a group, a ladies group. It was all married women. I did not understand why they added me to the group until after a year.
Yeah.
All married women in the group, they would now start talking about, "Oh, my husband, I saw your husband yesterday. Your husband now came to the house. These men, so what did your husband now do?" Me, I don't have stories to tell. So me, I keep quiet. And I'm watching. And it did not faze me initially. Until they would tell me to do a video of them and say, "Do it well so that my husband will like it, or make sure you do it well so that my husband will like it." And I'm thinking, okay. Then one came to me one day and said, "Oh, girl, where do you even do your nails gone? Because my husband likes it. And the way they look women, where they do nails," because then I used to do my nails often. It was when I went to Nigeria, they spoiled it for me. So I'm on break now from it. So the girl said, "Oh, where do you even make your nails?" I showed this baby where to make nails. Little did I know she was just trying to spite me. That me, I don't have husband to show the nails that I'm doing. I don't have husband to show my nails. And I did not understand until I stopped commenting in the group, until I stopped hanging out with them. When I stopped, one of them now called me and said, "Oh, girl, now you don't even hang out with us again. Pride has already come in now because you are now this, because you are now that." I now called one of them that I thought I could relate with. And I said, "These are my reasons. I don't feel comfortable. I understand. I'm not jealous of you guys. As a matter of fact, I'm even on break. I've given myself 10 years break that I'm not getting married within the first 10 years since I filed for divorce." I said, "So I'm not even interested. But the way they are doing now, they're overdoing it. They should please, that there's no point. I don't want anyone feeling uncomfortable." So I was going to excuse myself from the group. The girl now said, "They are just envious of you." They were talking the other day about how you don't understand some of the expressions. And I said, "Are they crazy?" I actually said it to you about what's the problem? What's the big deal? And interestingly, their husbands are my friends. So I had to cut off from them. I didn't want trouble.
Well, okay. We really have to go now. But I think the bottom line is a lot of us, both Christians, not Christian, we as individuals, we also have a lot to do with regards to this domestic issue problems. Because I can say even family members don't want you to leave abusive relationships because your parents might feel, what will people say? You know, disgrace, yes, you're bringing disgrace to the family. Your friends too might cut you off because that's another, because there's so much to talk about. Because I know people who when the marriage breaks up, then the friends will go support one side, another group will support the other side. It's like, who do you relate with? So some people cut off completely from their friends because of the division that it has brought. And
Someone said something. She said the church can't solve everything. That's true. No. The church can't. But what we're saying is everyone should contribute their quota. If you find out someone is going through abuse, be gentle on them. Listen to them. Do not judge them. That's all we are saying. So we're not saying the church. We're just saying the society, the church, they all have roles to play. In your little, you see, by just telling someone, "Oh, you know what? I know someone who's been through domestic abuse. She might be able to help you. She might be able to do it." That's you contributing your own bit. So what the church wants to do is to help, is to be welcoming, is also to help share some awareness on this. It doesn't have to be part of the church's program, but just be receptive, be accommodating with people who are going through all sorts.
And that's all the church. There's a lot going on in society. There is a lot that's going on in society. And like the person said, the church cannot support cannot be involved in everything. But we try to do our bit. If we cannot address it directly, we refer people to others that may be able to help them, especially people who've been through. Someone like Bunmi, there are other people in our churches that are, it's the same thing. Like if you're a widow or widower, you refer them to people who have been through that might be able to help them. So yeah, but I think apart from waiting for the church to do everything, then we too should try and help whichever way we can.
We are the church.
We are the church.
We are the church. I am the church. You're the church.
Yeah. So let's try.
And we are the society as well.
Yes.
It's us.
Yes. So let's, I guess, trying to talk more and more about this so that people don't feel shame, because shame is a huge factor. What will people say? That's a huge factor. Then the fear of the unknown. What will I do? Financial fear. That's a lot, and it's valid. But we're going to keep doing our bits. Bunmi, we might come back to do more, especially practical help. We didn't even touch a lot of that. I know you mentioned but we didn't talk about practical help. But if there's anyone on this platform now, or someone who is going through or in an abusive relationship, please reach out to Bunmi. Her handle is at Bunmi Idumu. Did I pronounce your last name properly?
Yeah.
At Bunmi. So Bunmi, then her last name is IDUMU. please reach out to her. And there are loads of organizations that can help. And also, please, Kolia, can you put Bunmi's hangout Instagram handle on the platform for me? Please put it, or anybody, please put her Instagram handle on the thing for me. What was I going to say? Gosh, I forgot it now. Please, anyway, follow Bunmi so that if you need help, yes, I remember what I was going to say now. When I put this on YouTube, please share it, just share it so that other people, thank you so much, Mary, so that other people can see it, share it with your friends. But let's try and get the message across. And especially because this month is Mental Health Month. And this week in particular in the UK is Mental Health Awareness Week. So we need to help people. People are going through a lot. And whatever we can do as individuals, as a family, let's do our bit. Okay? And Bunmi, thank you so much again. Thank you so much. Lovely having you. Anytime you come on, you give us so much information. And definitely, you'll be back. You'll be back again. So hopefully